Thank you. welcome to Little Arrow Soaps. Today we are going to be working on 4 soaps. And to get started, let's mix up some colors. We've got lots of colors today. Well, just a few, but lots of shades. Hello! Sorry for the late start today, but as you know, we're doing 4 soaps, so that's a lot for us for one night. So, had to get a few more things prepared. Alright, so we're trying out a new technique tonight, as well as bringing back some old favorites. To get started, I'm going to be mixing up some colors for our Miles Morales soap. Now, last week we did a column pour that we tried to spider vein, and it looked really cool, but in a moment of inspiration, we thought of a better idea. So we're actually going to use that for a different soap at some point, and try and actually recreate a scene from the Spider-Verse movie today. So let's see if we can do it. I don't need a whole lot because these are really small cups, and this is actually the cup I'm going to have the color in when I do it. So very small amounts this time. Need my paper towel, my damp paper towel. So we've got some red, we've got some blue, too much. Yeah, it's too much. Don't need that much. It's a very small amount of soap that's going to be going in here. Then we're going to come in with a little bit of our Twilight Blue. We're actually going to undersaturate this one purposefully. But I want to have enough that I can always deepen it if I want to. And then a little bit of black. And we can always use extra of that to darken our next color. Right. Go ahead and give all of these a little bit of oil, just enough. Because, like I said, we're doing small amounts of soap with these, so we want them to stay pretty liquid, but we don't want to overwhelm them. Mix these guys up, lightest to darkest as usual. Okay. This one's lighter. Gotta make sure our black is really mixed in so it can fully incorporate so we don't get black chunks. But that should be good. Go ahead and line these guys up top here. While we have those going, we're gonna mix up the color for our Aggie soap. This is our Farmer's Fight. We're gonna start off with a red base. So nice and saturated red. But this one is gonna be a maroon, so we need to add a little bit of ultramarine to bring in that bluey purple element. and a little bit of black to darken it. Now this color will naturally darken on its own because of the fragrance we're putting with it, but the darker it is, the better. Let's see what that mixture gives us. Now that ultramarine is going to develop as we go, so it's not going to look fully blue at first. I see as I mix, it's starting to get a little closer to maroon. I don't want to add any more black, but I am going to add a little bit more ultramarine. Just a tiny bit. Just to kind of deepen that hue just a little. Oof, we get color everywhere already. Okay. Yeah, that's starting to bring out a little bit more purple hue. And then as that darkens, that should hit right where we want it. Beautiful. We're going to set that one over here so that it does not get confused. Our next color is going to be for our UT soap, which is the University of Texas. Their colors are burnt orange and kind of a white or cream, depending on who you ask and what shirt retailer you buy it from. So we're going to go heavy on the orange. Really? And then add in a little bit of black to deepen that down. And let's see what that gets us. A little more oil, it's a little pasty. And we could actually use a little more orange in there. That black blooms real strong. And this has got a color, half a recipe, so you can go aggressive with the color so that it's actually doing what it's supposed to do in coloring the soap. Not bad. Can lighten it up a little bit in the soap too. But I'm liking it. It's definitely that burnt orange. A little darker than it needs to be, but it's going to lighten up when we mix it into the overall soap as well. Alright. Our last soap is very simple. It's our University of Houston soap. And for this one, we just need one color, and we just need our Brilliant Red, because their colors are red, white, and black. But we have a lot of red, white, and black soaps, so just red for this guy today. All right. role for Aggies next season. Of course. I mean, what did you expect? See, everyone else's sports team is doing well when you care about your sports team. But when you stop caring about your sports team, they do well. The sad, cruel ironies of life. Nope, you've already rolled it. It's in the universe now. There's no going back. I'm gonna see how my maroon's doing here. Beautiful. All right. So for our Miles soap, we're gonna start off doing a teardrop pour, and then we're gonna come back to it later to do a scraping. But I just noticed that my oil is starting to re-solidify, so I'm gonna heat this back up and then bring it back over in just a minute so we can get that going. While that reheats, we have our lye water solution here. Don't want that too warm. Just remelted. Not yet. One of the problems with soaping in cooler weather, sometimes it just solidifies on you. So for this technique, I'm gonna need 2 of these. This one can hang out over here. So these 2 specifically, because of their long pouring spout, so that I can really get close in there. And it should be interesting trying to get both of my hands to work together. I'm going to go measure out my fragrance oil while I'm over there, grabbing the soap. We're going to be scenting this with Kentish Rain, which smells like rain in the city. That kind of wet pavement, ozone-y sky kind of smell. It's very nice. Here's this. And then we're going to grab our fragrance. Okay. So I have not worked with this fragrance oil before, so hopefully it will do what I want it to do. If not, we will figure it out as we always do. And I need my mixer blade and my actual mixer unit. Okay. So I want to just barely bring this together. Then I can pour off my colors and go from there. Make sure that's all mixed up. Gently pour in my lye water solution. Set that off to the side. Yes, so this is the inspiration for this soap. Trying to get that kind of upward falling feel. So hopefully this will work out as planned. Get this mixed up. No air bubbles, just soap. I want it just above barely mixed. Is it separating? No, it does not seem to be separating. So we're gonna pull it here. Or is it? It is a little bit. Nope. A couple more seconds. No bubbles. All right, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. So, not separating, not pulling apart, still pretty liquid. Before I mix in extra color and scent, I'm going to pour off my 3 little cups here. Probably don't even need this much, honestly, but that's okay, that's where we are. And then I'm gonna pour this in. And gently hand mix. A little more. There, now we're transitioning into the blue. Okay, if you want to. Go for it, Zulu. And then I'm going to set these back again. Divide between these two. Make sure I get the last bits of color, because I want this little top part to be just slightly darker than the bottom like it is in the picture. Every bit. Okay. Clean that off because I'm going to use it again. Alright, there's too much soap matter out. It's time to switch into gloves. Just to stay safe. Okay. Yeah. Darker shade of Twilight there. Now, we'll bring in our soap mold. I'm going to pour down a base layer. Not too thick, but covering the whole bottom. Because wherever that rests is where my little teardrop is going to rest. So I want to get all of that in there because that's the perfect amount. We're still nice and liquidy. A little shake it to make sure it's nice and fluid. Now, I'm going to take these little cups and mix them up. Make sure they're nice and mixed. Beautiful. Red. And then my black. Okay. Now, to create some color division, I'm going to start with my red. It's nice and pourable. I'm actually going to add just a tiny bit more oil to keep these really fluid. This oil will be absorbed. It'll just be a little extra oil in the recipe, which makes it a little softer on your skin. Might make this bar a little softer at first, but that's okay. So, mix that in so it's nice and fluid. And we'll put our fragrance oil in the upper pieces. Red's gonna be the neck. So I make just a tiny little spout here, and I want to do just a tiny line, and then turn the other way and continue that little line. Now I'm going to mix in my black. It's okay, it has 3.5 months to cure. Yep, it's got time. We want to make sure that it does exactly what I want it to do. Mix that before we get too far. It's one of the reasons why we're trying to do these so far in advance, or at least it feels so far in advance. In reality, this is what production should be. All right, now we're gonna do a teeny line of black. Again, not trying to make it like a drop swirl where it pushes down, trying to keep it really tight and just real gently laid up on top of the mold. So the effect I'm trying to go for is the like little effect that Miles' world has in most of the Spider-Verse, which is a technique used in film when the film is just slightly misaligned and you kind of almost get that 3D effect with the red and the blue and then your full color. So that's what I'm trying to do. So in theory, this should look like a black dot or a black thing with those differentiated colors around it. I'm trying to separate that blue out a little bit so it doesn't get in the way too much, because I don't want it to blend in with the blue background. Last pass, and then we'll start actually turning it into a teardrop. Okay, so I'm going to put those aside. I'm going to turn my soap this way. I've got my fragrance oil and I have a little spatula. Oh good, these are still pretty loose. So I'm going to fragrance oil them and hope that that doesn't mess everything up. It should, in theory, loosen it up some. I get a little bit of ricing, but it's very small, so we'll just have to blend it and that should go away. Nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Oh, that smells so good in the soap. That did thicken these up just a tiny bit, so we're going to thin it out with some more oil. Our recipe is forgiving. We can have up to 20% extra oil. So we're going to use that to our advantage today. Back to liquidy. And now I'm going to take both of these and gently go down the sides. Come on. Ah, typical. Let's straighten that line out a little bit. I think this is going to work better if I'm alternating, because I just don't have the coordination to do this all at once. But it's pinching up just how it's supposed to, so far so good. The rest of the soaps tonight are going to be so much easier than this one. This was a challenge club soap a couple years back, and I watched a few videos on it today, and I get it. This is one of the more technical pours that I've done. Okay, I'm going to tap it down. And then give it final scrape downs. Ideally, probably should have done this with a fragrance oil that I was a little more familiar with so it didn't set up so fast. But I think that we did what we wanted to do regardless of the speed. Now, I'm gonna let this soap set up for a little bit, but I don't think I needed as much time as I originally allotted, but I want that center to set up. So I'm going to finish this off as though I was done with this soap, but we're gonna come back and scrape it down. So let me move these to the side real quick and rinse off my blade. And then we're going to grab a pen and sketch out our scraper. Okay, that's clean. Those are trash. These are gonna go into our falcon to finish them off. It's already a red layer, so let's add that in. Already some black here. We'll dump on some blue. Use our little spoon here to push it into all the places that need to level out. And there we have a lovely, complete falcon. Tap that flat. Oop, a little hole over here. Okay. So we'll let this set up overnight and then we'll demold this and we'll post some pictures on how he's doing. That bottom will be really cool though. There's some interesting colors in this mix. It should be strange. We'll see. But pouring those colors out together is exactly the color that I wanted inside of the soap. So I'm very happy about that. Okay. So we're gonna make a scraper board. And we've got scissors, and we need a pen. Pen. All right. Yeah, that's not the one I wanted. That is. All right. As usual, we're gonna mark off where our sides are. Now, I don't want this one super deep like I do some of them. So, I'm gonna sketch it up. That should really be far enough. Hi Ratsky, welcome in. Tonight we have made a delicious rain flavored or rain scented soap flavored teardrop soap. So consume at your own risk, I suppose. All right. So there's one corner. Here's the other corner. Sorry I haven't been in before. Well, welcome in. We are always welcoming. Hi, Seth. All right. So I'm trying to do an inverted skyline, so I'm going to turn it over. I feel like I'm going to cheat and just make the first building the side. But I can't do the same building on both sides. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do some space between the buildings. And another one. And I know there's a domed building. And then do a pointy building. And a tall building. And we'll make that a building. Yeah. I like it. Let's cut. Lots of little pieces today, but that is all right. It will all work out exactly how I want it, because so far it has. Gotta make sure, because this is supposed to be really high up in the buildings, so you're not going to see those lower lying buildings. You're just going to see the big ones. So it doesn't super matter if I do the lower lying buildings. Push out some of these middles that I don't want there. All right. And here is our makeshift skyline. That looks like a skyline. Close enough. Let's see. This is jiggly, but I want it firmer for this. So I'm going to let it sit for a little longer. Clean up my workspace here just a little bit, because I did make a mess pouring this one. Over time, the lye from the soap will eat away at these wooden boards, or these wooden boxes. So I want to clean them up every so often so it's not too bad. All right. Clear this out, grab some fresh paper towel, and it should be set up enough by then. I was anticipating having to wait most of the broadcast basically, but that does not seem to be the case. But that's okay. Fresh paper towel, and now we're gonna prep for the city skyline. So as that finishes setting, we need to make windows. To make windows, you take old bars of soap that you don't want to use and you grate them up like shredded cheese, and then when they are in the final soap, they'll look like little specks and squares and bits and bobs in the distance, which should add some depth and interest to the buildings to make them look a little more building-ish, hopefully. So I've got a few different colors here. We're gonna blend it up and see what we've got. So we're gonna start off with our lemon lavender that has lost most of its scent, but that's good. That's what we want. We want little chunks. Okay, that should be good. We don't need a whole lot of that. Then we're going to bring in some orange for the warmer lights. That looks pretty good. Some green, because there's some green in the whole process. Lots of greens and blues in our inspiration photo. And some blue. All right. Doesn't take a whole lot. Just mix that up, and then that will get blended even finer once we put it into the soap batter. Get all these little pieces. So we want them to really end up small little pieces. Let's see, how are we doing here? I think we are ready to scrape. We run into the small problem of my extra mold is full, so we'll bring in our other extra mold, which is our little States of Texas here. All right. I have my tiny spatula here to catch all the scrape off. And let's see if it does what I want it to do. All right, it fits. It looks like it's gonna hold. We've got lots of buildup already, which we anticipate because we are literally removing soap. Oh, look how crisp that is. Another scoop. And mask, kids, is why we wear gloves, because we touch everything, because we can't do it without touching it. What fun is it to do if you're making a mess doing it? All right. That behaved exactly as I hoped. In fact, a little bit better. We are going to allow this to continue to set up because we want it to. And we'll move all this out of the way. Just make sure this guy stays up straight. No, you don't want to. There. That wasn't so bad, was it? All right. Perfect. I see a little bit of leak through from the teardrop, but it's still encapsulated, so that's perfect. All right. Clear up my space again. Well, I'm gonna need these still because I'm making more soap to fill this, but my falcon's full, but my falcon's not unmoldable. Yeah, this would be a good time for an ad. Right. Just tell me when we're back. I do believe we're back. Okay, I am heating up the oil for our buildings. So let that melt for a second. Let's mix up the color for the buildings because I'm going to go a lot darker on that. So we are going to stick with the twilight blue. However, we're going to deepen that up quite a bit. That way we're just kind of getting different shades of the same blue. But we're going to go kind of heavy on it. And then we're going to add in a little bit of black to get that deeper tone. I think that's too much. Hi. Did you forget your emotional support water bottle?
Yeah, I'm just thirsty.
Okay. And we'll give this a mix up. And as that black hydrates, this should darken. Let that hydrate because my oils are now ready. Nope, not quite. It's been chilly, so they've been sitting pretty cold. Even though the freeze is gone now, they don't seem to have picked up on that. I want a little more black than that. Just a touch. And let that hydrate. There we go. All right, oils are all ready. Bring them in here. So, set this aside a little. We're gonna pour this mixture straight in because it's not gonna be mixed with anything else. And it'll give us a good idea of that truer color. It's just about time to reorder gloves, I do think. Let's see. I still want just a little bit more black in there. It's good, but I want that black tone. Not just darkness, I guess. Close, though. Zulu, if you're ordering, you can order more lye too. I only ordered 1 pack last time accidentally. I meant to order 2. At this rate, we're going through a bottle a week. All right. We'll start emulsifying that. Still got bubbles. There they are. Getting that nice, deep, rich black, blue. Trying to look like a city at twilight. Now I'm going to add in my bits here because I do want to chop them up finer than they currently are. They won't blend in fully so that their color goes away, but it's gonna make them smaller bits so they look like a kind of windows in the distance. set that aside again. And then we're gonna gently pour over our spatula here so that it disperses a little bit of the pressure. Real gentle pouring into our buildings here. There. Jiggle that a little bit so we can get nice and even. Now I do want to build this one up a little bit because we've got so much going on. It's going to be nice to have a little bit taller bar. So I'm going to let it set up for just a minute here. And then we'll go up top. Oh yeah, I'm very excited. This has turned out really cool so far. It's doing pretty much everything I want it to. A little extra. I am still gonna do more extra, but while it's pretty liquid, I'm gonna pour off some into these molds because I don't need all of that extra. That should do it. Now we'll have some Texas soaps. And frankly, I could probably do more than that, but we'll see where we end up in a minute. If not, then this will just solidify and then get added to the bucket that I put all of my stuff in that gets eventually shredded into other soap. Hopefully later this year I can go through that bucket and do a serious grinding and come up with a really cool confetti soap where we use all the extra scraps. But for right now, I'll show you, if I can get a good scoop here, how it looks up close. Yeah, that's a good one. So, as best you can see the little speckles of different colors in there. I know a lot of it looks like reflection, but I swear they're in there. And then when we cut through it, they'll really pop out and hopefully look like little windows and decals and all the crazy stuff you'd see on the buildings like you do in the Spider-Verse movie. So very gently laying this on top as to not disturb the base. But I want to texture it, so I want more up there to texture so I don't mess up the cityscape, because that is the highlight of the bar. Okay. Let this sit. I'm going to move these out of the way, and then we'll start addressing our next soaps, which are significantly less complicated than this one is. I know I'm supposed to be processing soaps right now, but I can't help but watch. Yeah, this one's turned out. Very pleased with the process that's gone on so far with this one. All right. As I suspected, I do have extra soap in here, but I really can't risk piling more on top. So I will let it solidify in here and then peel it out and either use it or grate it down for another batch sometime. And as I do that, let's bring in our texturing. We're still a little soft texture. That is okay. We'll move this guy out of the way, and I'll probably retexture him on the counter out of view at some point. But we'll let him sit up for a little longer. Meanwhile, I'm going to warm up my next oil because it's cold in here and they all need a little heat. So let's heat that one up and then we'll get started on our next soap. Let's see what I got here. Alright, warm oils and some fresh lye. We have our oils. Let me know when you're ready. I gotta show you something and I'll let you talk about it. Okay, in just a minute. I'm gonna pour this in here gently and rinse out this guy, which I forgot to do earlier. Okay. And I get a little water for some titanium dioxide, which I will need for this soap and the next. Okay. So, we've got our lye and our oils. Gonna mix up my titanium. And that should just dissolve straight into the water there. All right. While that does its thing, let's get this one mixed up. Got those cold oils mixing back in and warming back up. Pull that off. We'll go pour our scent real quick, which I keep forgetting to pull out cups for. day. So this scent is a mixture of mahogany wood and Merlot wine. So it's real deep and rich and warm. When it first starts out, the Merlot smells maybe a little cherryish, but as it matures in the soap, it ends up being a perfect wine scent. And that mahogany wood is just so rich. So this is a darker fragrance oil and it does discolor, so we're only going to be putting it into half of the soap so that it doesn't discolor all of it, so we'll lose that white. Because if we just did it straight in there, it'll turn dark brown on both accounts. We want to augment that a little bit with our beautiful color. Okay. So we're gonna pour off about half. A little bit more maybe. And then into here, we're gonna add some of our titanium dioxide to give us that lovely white. That should do it. And then we'll blend this up a little bit more. Because that titanium really comes through with blending. See, it's turned a little bit cream now, but it'll go more white as it cures. Yes, Bob Ross would call that titanium white. I'm using the base chemicals that become the titanium white, but it's basically the same stuff, yeah. All right, I'm gonna let this sit for a minute as I go rinse this out. So even though it will start pretty wet, the titanium dioxide should make this set up pretty quickly. So we're gonna bring in our mold here, even though it's staying pretty loose, because I said it wouldn't. We're gonna fill this up. And of course, forgot our spatula a few feet away. Okay. Now we're going to save this little bit of white just in case we need to lighten this mixture. So we're going to remix up our maroon color here. And then little by little add it in until we have the color that we're looking for. Clear up some of my space here since I have everything out. Right. Definitely want to go a little bit more, but not quite all of it. Because as I said, it's going to get a lot darker as it cures. And right now, it's a little bit light for what I want. So that darkness should bring it back to where I need it. All right, let's check on this here. Still liquidy. Because why would things go exactly as they usually do? That's all right. We'll give it some time to set up. This one, we want it to set up because we're going to use our scraper on it. And if we don't let it set up hard enough, then the scraper's never going to work. So we'll let this hang out here. And we'll let this one hang out as well. And if that's how my white's going to behave tonight, I'm going to go ahead and get started on my next one as well. So scoot these over just a little bit more. Move this out of my way. I'm not going to need it again. And I'm going to heat up my next oil so that we can get that one going too. Now, my next one is our UT soap. Time for the surprise. Yeah, go ahead and shoot me the surprise. What is it? Oh, that's awesome. So this is our friend Dan. Dan is a pro skater, Dan McFarlane, and he has been running Houston skateboards for years now, and now he's been working on opening up a storefront, and looks like they are just about ready. That is awesome. Very happy for Dan, very happy for all the hard work he's put in. He's always a joy to hang out with at markets, and just a generally fun guy. So this is awesome for him and for his family, and just everything that they get to do going forward now, because they've got a storefront. That's huge. All right, guys. My oil is ready. My lye water is ready. So, we're going to gently pour our lye water in here. And we're going to blend. Okay, burp our blender here. Got paranoid for a second. It's so shiny. I'm like, is the oil separating? But it's not. So that's fine. It's just deciding to be thin today for some reason. I'll take it, but when you're doing soaps that kind of rely on it being thicker, that can be frustrating. What are you looking at? What do you want? You just bored coming in here to visit me? Blendy, 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 blendy. This one's also pretty liquidy, so I think it's just the way things went. We'll pour off our half here. And pour in our titanium dioxide. Ooh, bubbles. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to pour this fragrance oil. So this is a blend of orange and smoke. So it's got that deep smoked orange kind of scent to go with the burnt orange color. And it just gives a new dimension to our usually very popular orange. But adding that smokiness to it really deepens it. There we go. Now I do know that this is a one that accelerates, but it does not change the color. So we're going to put it in the white to make it behave. Everything's just falling out of my hands tonight. That's okay. So I've got my pour here. That's still not set up. And for this one, we're going to be using our angler so that we can get a nice angle on it. Lock my pins in here. There we go. So we're going to pour in half of our fragrance oil, set the other half aside. It's always funny when we bring out the Collegiate soaps because people get very invested in it. It's a big thing down here in Texas. I don't know where everyone else is, but your college is very important, especially if you went to one of the big ones. And by the big ones, I mean the ones that play football. All right. This should get moving shortly. I think my lye water is cold. So that could be a factor here as to why everything's moving so slow. But this one's a little more precarious to move once I've got it in the right spot. So hopefully I won't need to. I need to unangle it slightly. Because it's not reaching the far side. There we go. Beautiful. We'll go ahead and scrape that down and put it on in. Every last drop in this one. Okay. Move this on out of my way. this guy back to start mixing in here. So I have my burnt orange color, and I'm going to mix that up a bit, and we'll start adding it in here. Don't worry about making the burnt orange look good. You can't. No, I can't. No one can. But I can try. And my little mix there got a little too dark, so I'm actually going to go straight in with orange for a little bit to get it the rest of the way there. So I don't want it to be too dark. I can always darken it by adding a little more. But I can't undarken it. Please start setting up. Okay, the first one we did is starting to get a little thicker. I do not know what happened there. Usually my problem's being too thick, not too thin. Maybe I'm being too conservative with it right now. That orange starting to come together as all those little bits break up. I think that's pretty good. A little more orange. It's pretty orange. Just finish that off. I have another one of these. Okay. Not certain I would say pretty orange. I mean, pretty is relative, I suppose. I think my orange tends to be better than the actual orange that they have. I know, I basically already made the joke once, but it was right there. If you couldn't tell, Zulu went to the rival school to this one. And will happily inform you as to why his school was better. Mostly by the way of dissing on their school. This is finally starting to thicken up. It's still pretty loose, but finally there. So we'll let it sit for a little bit longer. This one's still very liquidy, so that one will sit for a little longer. Yeah, so we're in a little bit of a holding pattern, but that's okay. We shall survive doing this. This is even starting to thicken up a little bit, which is good, which is what I want. I have not added the fragrance oil here yet, but I'm going to go rinse this out, and I'm going to give this a little bit of a blend because I do see some specks of the ultramarine and black, and I want it to be a nice smooth color. All right. So, my poor mixer is getting hot from all of the use today. I think the motor is starting to go, but it's not there yet. But that could be a factor into why it's not seeming quite as good tonight. Make sure all those colors are fully incorporated. We don't want speckly soap. That's not the goal of tonight. We already did that one. There, that looks a lot better. Nice, smooth color, right where we want it to be. That ultramarine is a hard one to get to fully incorporate, which is why when we made it one with that the other night, we really let it sit for a while to hydrate. I've even seen some people, especially when you're just doing a full ultramarine soap, just letting it sit in their oils to fully hydrate, because it can take a lot. All right. Nice and clean, ready for the next round. Let's check here. Nice and liquidy still. Getting thicker, getting thicker. So let's see. We are definitely not scraping thickness yet. But we can see how it reacts real quick. Mostly out of pokey curiosity. Slide this guy to the side here, very gently. It'll hold it, but it'll go kind of flat. And we want a nice sharp line, so we will wait. We will wait on that one. We want it to be right. We don't want to rush ourselves and then feel bad about it later, because that's what I'll do if I rush and I know it's not good. Just like any art, there are times when you can do what you want and times that you can't. And so we're gonna let these continue to set up and contemplate if we're gonna start on the next one, because the next one is easier because it's just an in the pot swirl. But I have two things I'm juggling right now, and if I add a third, I am not confident that I will be able to do that properly. So while we wait for those to finish filling up, let's blend our next scent. So the last time we made this, we made it with just cedar. And cedar on its own is apparently pretty polarizing. People either liked it, well, I guess not quite polarizing, you either love or hate it, but people either liked it or they absolutely hated it. So instead of doing all cedar this time, we're gonna be blending it with ginger and lemongrass to create kind of a more spa-like scent. So I'm gonna blend this up, see how it smells good, and then I'll measure out what the final amount I need is. Soften it up a bit. Yeah, softening it up a bit. So we'll start off with that cedar. I don't have a whole lot left, so we'll put it all in there. Then let's cut in with this ginger. So this ginger is a spiced ginger. It's supposed to smell like crystallized ginger. Oh, it's really good. We're gonna do a little bit of that. Little bit more, because that lemongrass is going to cut through both of them pretty well. There, I feel like that's more even. Now I'm going to do some, did we freeze or did I just freeze? Little lemongrass. More lemongrass. a little more lemongrass. Okay, that's good on the lemongrass. I'm gonna go in with more of the ginger. I really feel like that's more of a star here. Really kind of making that cedar a back note. Yeah. I think that's going to be interesting. You definitely get the ginger, you definitely get the lemongrass and the cedar. Zulu, do you want to come smell it? Maybe a little more ginger. Now remember, I'm not going to use all of this in the soap, so it's a little intense right now.
Oh my God!
What do you think?
No, it's good.
All right.
It's a little bit of spiciness to it that I like.
Ginger and spice. This is that raw ginger, like, burn. Hello, Eldana. Welcome back. All right.
And Ransky.
I am going to go pour off the appropriate amount of this. Not all of this, because all of this, there is an essential oil in here, so it will eat your skin if we don't dilute it properly. So we're going to go dilute it properly. And then this is nice and thick, so we're going to make another attempt at scraping and see how that goes. I'm going to take this bottle because might as well bottle up the rest of this if we like it. All right. So I have a certain amount that I need for each one of my soaps. Most of the fragrance oils is the same, some of them it's a little different. This one, because it's a lot of really heavy scents, we're going to go on the lighter side, but that's okay. That's what we want. And scents also change when they hit the soap. Some for the better, some for the worse, so we will see. This is an experiment, and we'll go from there. Set this one off to the side a little bit more because it's not one of the ones we're currently working on. Oh, hello, Grim. Why don't you go out of the kitchen? All right. We've got our scraper. We already scraped that way and it wasn't ready. So we're going to scrape this way. Oh, I think we might be ready. Or at least we're really close. I don't hate it, but the texture is a little weird. No, it needs a little more time. The texture doesn't like me messing with it. That's okay. It can be picky. Let's see. This one's still liquidy. I do not know what's up with these. My lye water ratios are on. Everything should be normal. They're just moving so slow. They feel pretty cold, so that's probably a big part of it. But I don't know. This one's definitely gonna have some glycerin rivers, but that's okay. We don't mind glycerin rivers. They are an aesthetic choice for some, but for us, we just like them. Scared is my natural state. Let's say you validated it. Yeah. We got nice over here, but then it went flat. And I want it to stay the same the whole length. I actually took the time and cut this little one with a saw all the way through by hand so that it's the right shape. And so it's the only one I have this width. And I can't use any of the other ones because they're all full length for the slab. But we'll get there as we wait forever. What have you been up to, Aldana? Ratsky, what are we doing tonight? Just perusing everywhere? Yes! Oh my god, Wicked is gonna be so good. I've thought about doing a Wicked soap for a while. Maybe I will. Why don't we? There's still time. There's definitely time. There's a lot on the list still, but there's still time. Could definitely do it. I have a very good idea. I just need to work on some scrapers for it. And Wicked is a big enough fandom, frankly, that everyone would get it. Okay, so my colors are thickening up, so I'm thinking there's something with my titanium. How old is my titanium? It shouldn't expire. Did I put too much water in it? I don't think so. I don't think I did. I hope I didn't, but I guess I'll find out. I feel like the more I scrape it, the worse it's looking. Let's go a little deeper, maybe? Oh yeah, that looks better. This top layer just doesn't like me messing with it continually. I don't blame it. Okay, I have a spoon. That's a dirty spoon, but that will work. Just make a mess and deal with it in a second. Haha, I won. For now. But we still need to let this set aside and continue hardening because it's definitely not hard enough yet. We'll just clean this pile of soap up and grab some more. For context, we talked about making a soap inspired by a book series no one else we know has read, despite us asking them to. But our slogan for our company is inspired by what we love. And you can take the we to be anything, but sometimes we get to take that as the literal we, as in Zulu and I. So why not? Do whatever we want. We're the ones who put in the time and effort. We should be able to enjoy the spoils of war. All right. That is scraped. That is hardening. How are we doing here? We are just about there. We are close enough that I am ready to work on it some more. So I'm going to very gently move this over, and then very gently move this over, and then switch their positions. Okay. This is the rest of that fragrance oil. So, we're going to pour the rest in here because everything's moving slow, nothing matters anymore. This is going to liquefy this, and then we are going to very gently pour it into the mold as we straighten it. Yep, there are no rules. Everything is broken. I think I put so much care and detail into the first soap because it's so important that it stays liquid, and then it didn't, that all of my other soaps are like, I'm so sorry, we'll behave. Because that's the only explanation I currently have. Very gently pouring down the sides. Whoop. Filling up. All right, we're full enough that I'm going to take it off of the Cheshire here, because that should be able to support its own weight now. And we're just going to really gently pour the rest of this in. Beautiful. This should give us a lovely diagonal straight across the top. Okay. Now this one, I just leave the top plain, boring, straight-laced, nothing too extra, because the real sharp line inside is the kind of highlight of this one. So this one is done, finally. Which gives us some counter space to move on, which is always nice. So I'm just gonna wipe up the side here so it's not dripping on anything. And that will set up nice and politely now, because if it doesn't, I will just boil it. And move this over to the counter to set. And we'll work on our final soap while the Aggie's one continues to sit. So I'm going to heat up my last oil and we'll go from there. Okay, so that's going to take a minute. The top of my Aggie's is doing good. The bottom, still a little too shiny for me to trust it. So I'm going to give it another little bit, but it's getting closer. Definitely getting visibly closer to where I need it to be. I didn't realize that was full. All right. So, our U of H soap, our University of Houston. I have my titanium dioxide, but I want a little bit more. And I'm wondering if I watered it down too much, so I'm going to thicken it up anyway to see if that's been one of the problems. But I really think it's just temperature and humidity today. But you never know. So we'll add a little bit more, make it more white. I've got a bad feeling that Aggie soap won't be as popular this year. We might have to meet people in the back alley to sell it. I don't know. There's people still wearing their Aggie rings and being Aggies in spirit and whatever, so I think we'll be fine. At the very least, we know that you'll take a bar. Right, Zulu? All right. Final soap of the night. Lots of soap. We've got our lye water. Go straight in here. Add that to our stack. And give it a little mix before bringing in the blender. Okay. Blender. For some reason I unplugged it, so I'm going to plug it back in. Ooh, bubbles. There we go. Getting that blended up while it's still warm. It's still cold. Make sure all those oils hanging out around the edges are coming in. Okay. Soap, soap, soap. Okay. I'm going to mix this one a little bit further than the last two. It's already looking thicker, so I don't know what was going on with those two and why they decided to behave that way, but whatever. I mean, it happens sometimes. I wonder if maybe it was just barely warm enough, or the lye water made it too cold. I don't know. It's behaving now. All right. We're gonna right away pour off. And this one, it's actually gonna be a little less than half because we're gonna do red and white, and that red very much spreads out, so we don't need to overdo it. Let's put in our titanium dioxide. And get this part going. And then we're going to come over here, and this is a thick enough mixture that it's not going to be affected by there being any titanium in there. Bright red for those cougars. All right. Then go ahead and move this out of our way. We're all done with them for tonight. And I've got 2 spatulas here so that I can stir our fragrance oil into both. Oop, dust bunny. A little bit in there. A little bit in there. See, this is what I was more expecting, it thickening up like that, but it does whatever it wants. Oof. This is a nice strong scent. I think this is going to satisfy that kind of earthy lemongrass and cedar that people have been asking us for. It's definitely more pleasant than the cedar by itself. You definitely get that lemongrass, and I think the ginger will come out more as it cures, because I know that's the case with the ginger soaps. But you get that spice from like the fresh gingery scent. So, all right. Scrape that down. Scrape this down a bit. And then we're gonna do an in the pot swirl. So I'm gonna do 2 points of pour here. And then a little bit just on top. And then I'm going to save what's left in here to drizzle the top to make sure that there's red on top. But of the 3 soaps, like I said, this one is by far the easiest. So we just go ahead and pour it on in. You can come back around with this spatula. Oh, Grim's been slacking tonight on the Borkins. He has seemed very tired. I think he did many of the Borkins earlier. All right, now we're going to come in with our red here. I don't quite want it to look like a candy cane, so I want to make the red seem a little more deliberately on top. Bring this in just to get a little swirling on there, which probably doesn't help with the whole candy cane thing. And then we're going to take our spoon and do some texturing, because we are at texture levels. Just a little cross pattern just to give it some depth and some grip. Okay. There, one that has actually behaved as expected today. You never know with soap, you really don't. All right, I'm gonna set this one to the side to cure with the others. And then I think our Aggie soap should be ready to go. And if it's not, we're gonna make it. All right, I think we're good actually. So, we're gonna put all of our fragrance oil into the top here. That should thin it back out to allow us to very gently pour it over the scraping so that we can get that nice defined line. Can't call yourself an artist if everything goes perfect every time. That is so true. I mean, this is chemistry. These are all technically experiments. Each one has different variables: fragrance, color, time, temperature, phase of the moon, it feels like sometimes. All right. Get this out of here so we can get a nice pour. And then give this one the special treatment it deserves, right? All right. We're gonna break its fall because it's heavy. Beautiful. Tilt it just a little bit so I can see what I'm doing and camera can see what I'm doing. Make sure I get all of it in here. Oh, that smells just so good. Bounce it a little more flat, though we are going to texture it in a minute. Just making sure I'm getting every bit, because we did scrape some out. I want to make sure we're getting a full soap. There we go. Okay. as that goes. We'll let that sit for a minute. And then because we do play favorites in this house, only one of them is getting gilded. All right. New spoon, are you ready? No, it's not ready yet. But we can load up. What's it smell like again? So this one is red wine and mahogany. It's so good. It just smells like sitting in a den in a winery somewhere. Fancy. Alright. Get some gold in our duster here. Set him down gently so we don't lose it. Whew, that ginger is strong and that cedar is strong. I think it's going to be a polarizing one again, but I think it's going to be more accepted because that lemongrass and ginger really pulls through too. So this has a high vanilla percentage from both of its fragrances, so it is going to darken and turn from this kind of reddy color to more of a maroon as we go, which will be nice. Almost there. We're going to start encouraging everything towards the middle because this soap wants to take forever to do simple things that all soap should be able to do right away. Much like it took me forever to get a degree from this school. You know, everyone has their timing, right? But no, it's all good. We'll let this just sit for a minute because it has been catching up and it's got the fragrance oil in there now, so it should start coming around. So coming up this week, Wednesday, we're going to make Pokeballs. And we're gonna paint the Mario bath bombs that we did last week, which is the mushrooms and the stars. And so those will be really cute. And we're getting ready, not this week, but next week for our Space City Geek Fest. However, this weekend, if you're not interested in watching the Super Bowl game or you want to watch it somewhere more interesting, we will be down at the Post, Houston, for a Galentine's Day event. So if you are in the area and you want to come check us out, you can go shopping for multiple local vendors, and the sports enthusiasts in your life can go check out the game on the big screen TVs out on the patio and eat some of the fantastic food. So lots of options. Come on out, support local artists. January was a rough month for Houston markets, so every visit is appreciated. I know the more I poke it, the longer it's going to take, but I'm impatient. So I did it again. But, while I was waiting for the microwave on one of the soaps, I ended up texturing Miles. I'm going to bring it over so you guys can see. So we did a nice grippy texture. If you look close, you can see some of those little confetti bits poking through. But we'll be able to see it really well on the cut, and I'm really excited for the cut on this one. I think that a teardrop might be something I do more often because I really like the concept of it, and we'll see how I turned out. Because really, there's no guarantee that it will do anything remotely like I actually wanted it to do, as we have found with everything tonight. So we'll kind of see how it goes from there. Just clearing up my workstation a little bit as I wait for that one to finally let me texture and gild the top. Usually I do that off screen, but we're really close, and it's so pretty watching the gold dust settle. All right, let's see if I've poked it too many times or if it's going to cooperate this time. Oh, we're gonna dust it today as opposed to spray. Oh, that is much more promising. Well, my spray's not out here. My spray's in the soap room. If you want to grab my spray, I can spray it too. It's on the door at the top with the other glitters. I want the gold. All right, a little bit of a domed texture there. Got a little higher last time, but I'm running out of patience, and we underfilled this just a tiny bit because we had to scrape, but it's gonna still give us a great shape, and it's gonna be one of the taller ones next to the U of H one. So Zulu is bringing me my lovely spritzer, and then we'll also dust so that we have total gold coverage. It'll be lots of fun. Maybe we'll spritz Miles too. Dark ones look so nice. Let's see if he can find it on my vague instructions. Top of the shoe rack with all of the colors. I use shoe racks to divide up my stuff. It works pretty well.
Can hear you, you know?
I do. Why do you think I hear you speak? We have it! We have our gold glitter duster.
Spray it.
Activate.
Spray
Spray?
it. No, don't spray me. Spray it.
Scrape. There, we got some gold on there. We'll put more gold in a second. But, you know, cities are gilded too, right?
What should we do?
Spritz.
No. Spray it.
So much glitter spray. Ah, that just looks really cool now.
Okay, now you can go step.
Woof, all of the glitter floating everywhere. All right. Move that to the side, and then we're going to dust. Completely gilding the top here. And as we do that all on there, I'm going to sacrifice my lungs for all of you and guarantee I'm not sick, and even if I was, this is soap. It's going to fix itself. So we go. Ooh, still quite wet. Does not want to let go of extra. We put more then. There we go. Perfect. Nice wet texture on top. Completely gilded. Absolutely gorgeous. Put away the last of our... this fresh new container is very stiff. Put away the last of the gold. Otherwise, it will get literally everywhere. And then I'm going to bring in my other two soaps that we did today. Show off a little. We got lots accomplished. We have our A&M soap. We have our UT soap. which those colors are developing beautifully. And finally, not fearing for spilling it everywhere, we have our UT soap. 4 bars, fairly intricate bars. Not the most intricate, but a scrape, an angle, a swirl, and then the drop swirl, or the teardrop swirl. I am very excited. These are going to be very, very different, each and every one of them. So it shall be very pretty when we get that all together and cut them on Wednesday. And painting, it shouldn't be as long of a stream. So busy night, lots of soap to be made, very interesting mixture of scents. So we have orange and leather, cedar, ginger, and lemongrass, mahogany and merlot, and then fresh rain in the city. It should be a very interesting spread of scents, and I'm very excited to see how everyone likes them. The fresh rain, I'm so excited about. I'm glad that we had some overpour bars, because then I get to keep them for myself, and that's always the best. All right, guys. Zulu, let's see who's out there to raid out to tonight, because we are just about done. I already talked where we're going to be this week as far as markets go. You can also see us back here on Wednesday for the cut, as well as bath bomb making. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, you can leave them either on our Instagram page or through the point redeems for things like that. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Maggie. I really appreciate it. And let's see what Kim's got going on. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and please join us for the raid. It's always appreciated. And let's go see what Kim's got going on. No, I'm ready. Okay. It's amazing how shiny and how soft this one still is. I bet you in like 20 minutes, it's just going to be suddenly totally hard. The chemistry of this is so strange sometimes. It doesn't seem to follow the same rules at any given point, even though it does. But we'll see. We'll see where we are with all of the soaps, and it's going to be a really fun cutting this week because everything is so vastly different. Okay. Thank you everyone for hanging out. I know our Monday streams have gotten a little longer, and that will hopefully continue for a while because we still have lots and lots of stuff to make for Comic Palooza, and just in general, lots of things going on for the rest of the year, even though it's only February. We should be full of content this year. Full of it, for sure.